But when it comes to decision making, though, that it has to be an emotional factor. But when it comes to unlocking the emotional factor, and they tell you this idea that everyone has this superhuman athletic ability that is not what is reserved for those in the athletic field.
One of my favorite quotes that I've heard from Dan Lok is facts tell, story sells. What does that mean to you? Facts tell, story sells.
What that means to me is that people do not buy what you sell, they buy the stories that you tell. And I think when it comes to facts, we would call it storytelling is a new marketing. When you look at the old school traditional marketing, they talk about the product features. So let's take Nike for an example. Old school Nike commercial will tell you the tennis or the shoe itself. And they tell you the durability, the elasticity of the shoe. They tell you the quality was made of, the design, all of the features of the shoe, and the products and the athletic gears that they're trying to market. But the new school marketing, they tell you a story. They showed you Serena Williams. They showed you Colonel Kaepernick. They showed you a person in the community that has defied the odds, that has reinvented himself. And they tell you this idea that everyone has this superhuman athletic ability that is not what is reserved for those in the athletic field. It is reachable with every single one of us. So one was emphasizing the facts, but one is emphasizing the stories of the benefit and wrapping a narrative around that story. So when it comes to you getting capital for your business, you can walk an investor through your profit and loss, your balance sheet. You can walk an investor through your technology, your proprietary solution. You can walk an investor through, your inventory and your raw materials and your production processes. All of those are facts and they're important. But when it comes to unlocking the emotional factor, and we see that happen at Shark Tank all the time, when the entrepreneurs come and say, I started this business, because I promised my wife that I was going to be the breadwinner of the house. I started this business when my mom died, and I said I was going to step up to be the breadwinner of the family. I started this business because I couldn't see anything in my community that solves the solution. And I went through this, and that story resonates with the entrepreneur, because the magic of story is ultimately people listen to your story with the filter of their own story. It reminds them of themselves, and that is how you unlock the emotional connection. And at the end of the day, it's the emotion that you want to open up, and that storytelling does that. Facts, yeah, it provides the credibility. But when it comes to decision making, though, that it has to be an emotional factor. People have to feel something. People have to relate with what you're doing. I call it points of commonality. People have to feel something in common with you to be able to identify with you, and storytelling helps to do that.
You said something very significant, that people listen to your own story using the filter of their own story. So all the while they're listening to your story, they're thinking about their own story, looking for that commonality. And the moment they find that, it's almost like you've penetrated something that facts will never do.
Absolutely.
Magical. That's magical.